Folks, we're breaking into Jeopardy right now for a press conference on those three officers' conditions who were hurt in gunfire at a quick trip near 32nd and L.
Our Aaron Hegarty has been at Nebraska Medicine all afternoon where those officers were taken for treatment. We go there live now.
Just giving an update to what has happened since the statement at the scene earlier. So Mayor Ewing and Chief Schmatter and members of the executive staff with the Omaha Police Department have been here at the hospital at Nebraska Medicine and have met with the officers. All of the officers are in good spirits. One officer has been discharged, two are still receiving treatment. The mayor and the chief had an opportunity to speak with the officers and their family that have been here. We appreciate all the thoughts and prayers that the community has been sending for the officers in the recovery from their injuries from earlier today. You all already know that this incident stemmed from a shooting earlier today. The victim of that shooting is a 61-year-old white male. That shooting happened today at Fields Foodway at 3030 Ames Avenue. And then just information led the officers, the gang unit officers and the assault unit officers to the QT there on 33rd and Q Street where they made contact with the suspect. The suspect is a 28-year-old Hispanic male. You already know that he has he died from his injuries, and the officers are here still receiving treatment. And that's the update that I have for you all.
Ask any questions you like.
From what I was understanding, there was with respect to the officers of injured, there was some conversations around like shrapnel. Can you expand on kind of how those injuries work and how those injuries work in comparison to like an injury from the actual bullet, if that makes things more complicated?
Anytime you have things moving at high speed, they can they run into other objects that can fracture and fly through the air and cause injuries as well. So it's just the nature of kind of the kinetic motion of the bullets and things that happen at the scene.
What can you share about what the injuries are?
I can't.
So there were 3 Omaha Police gang unit officers that were injured at the scene, and they were transported here to Nebraska Medicine and have been receiving medical treatment. Their injuries are non-life-threatening, but serious. And then our Omaha Police Department officer-involved investigation team is investigating this incident, and they're being assisted by the Nebraska State Patrol and the Bellevue Police Department.
3 people coming in for one shooting be a mass casualty for you guys, or I don't know what the threshold is?
We mobilized numerous members of our emergency medicine and trauma surgery service, including physicians, nurse practitioners, ER nurses, and we were able to handle all 3, simultaneously in quite rapid succession.
Is there any information you can share about the location of injuries for these officers?
Any specifics, Deputy Chief Thomas probably could address those if she has that information. As far as specifics, Dr. Gady wouldn't be able to go into that.
I will not be able to advise of any additional information regarding the injuries.
Have you had a lot of traumas today before this happened, or was it an average day, slow day?
We've had several. It was not a slow day, but it was a fairly standard day for us, and have had several other patients with significant injuries, and this is just why we're here 24/7.
Was Phil's Foodway, did he go to Nebraska Medicine as well, or do you know?
Yes, he's receiving treatment here as well.
So it's still here then?
Yes.
Okay.
So the victim of the shooting earlier today is here along with the officers.
Were the officers wearing any sort of armor or protection uniform-wise?
Yes.
The victim of the shooting at Phil's, do you know if his injuries are life-threatening or the extent of his injuries?
From my understanding, they're serious. I don't believe they're life-threatening, but I can't say that for sure from the information that I've been provided.
Are there a lot of police officers kind of showing support in kind of these first few moments following all of this today?
Oh, absolutely. A helping officer called, and so officers were coming to the scene at the QT there on 33rd and Ames, and then there has been a lot of officers that are here at the hospital, whether they work with the officers directly in their specific units or just come in to support their fellow officers. And we'll make for sure that the officer's family have the support from the department. The mayor and the chief both have said, whatever they need, we're here to provide that support. So family atmosphere, we try to take care of one another. But it was, as the chief said, it was a very dangerous situation earlier today, and we're just thankful that the officers are alive and here to be able to still be here for their families.
I'm not sure if you have the answer to this offhand, but can you remember the last time maybe 3 officers were injured in a shooting at once, in one incident?
I cannot. I've been on since 1998, and I can't think of an incident that comes top of mind that we've had 3 officers injured in one particular incident. I will let you all know that later on this evening, our Public Information Office will send out an update to you all to provide additional information. As you all know, this is an ongoing investigation, and so more information will come to light as the investigation continues. We appreciate you all coming out and receiving the updates, and we will continue to provide them as we get this.
The officer that was released, can you confirm if that was the one that was hit by any shrapnel?
Yes. Yes. That was the officer that was released.
What kind of, when we say shrapnel, is that something you're able to elaborate on?
Nothing further than what the doctor has already provided.
Shrapnel from the bullets or shrapnel from like the wall or?
It's really impossible to tell from an external exam of where it actually came from.
Dr. David, you talk about, it's not just you back there. It's a bunch of people. It's comprehensive care that anytime a trauma patient comes in, nurses, different kinds of trauma surgeons first, and then the level of care they receive afterward.
Yeah, we mobilized probably about 50 of our staff, including 5 trauma surgeons, at least I think 4 emergency medicine physicians, probably 6 or 7 emergency medicine nurses, about 6 of our trauma advanced practice providers, on top of radiology techs and lab personnel. So it was a tour de force to address them all as quickly and make sure there were no serious injuries.
How long have the officers that were injured been on the force?
That information will be provided to you all later once the Public Information Office provides more information. So as you all know, when we have an officer-involved shooting, we don't release the names of the officers immediately. We have to make for sure their family knows what has happened to their loved one, as well as the suspect information that will be provided later on too. So we will provide that information later, but they were members of the gang unit, and so that's a specialized unit, so they would have at least 3 years on the job.
Is there anything you can speak to in regards to a potential motive at this time?
No, not at this time. Of course, that'll be a part of the investigation, and so this incident started this afternoon at Phil's Foodway, and so that victim has to be interviewed and talked to see if that person knew the suspect, and that will come out in the investigation, and the Public Information Office will make that a part of their updated press release and provide you all that information at that time.
And going back to that original situation at the Phil's Foodway, am I saying that right?
That is correct.
Do we know who called 911 initially?
We probably do know that information. I don't know that information at the time. So it could have been someone else at Phil's Foodway that called. I can't say for sure who called, but it was a call in to 911. Officers responded, got to the location, and did what officers do when they respond to shooting investigations. We try to contact any witnesses and get information, and based on the witness information, providing the plate number, that's how we were able to determine the suspect vehicle that was essentially located at 33rd and L Street at that QT.
Do you know if there's like video surveillance footage for either shooting?
I imagine there is. That I haven't been shown. I haven't seen any of it, but that's a part of the investigation. So our detectives do a very good job in following up and canvassing the area. Individuals, sometimes if it's in a neighborhood, they'll contact and let us know that they have, footage of the crime that has occurred. So that'll all be a part of the investigation. Our detectives do a very good job. They're very thorough in their follow-up and investigation. So we will look into all of those things. And I imagine QT has footage, inside and outside the store, but that will have to be a part of the investigation that the detectives will follow up and get. Same with Phil's Foodway.
And were sorry if you said the officers, were they wearing body-worn cameras?
I did not say if they were wearing body-worn cameras, and I can't confirm that.
Do you guys know when L Street will be reopened?
I do not. Hopefully, in the next couple of hours. But that's a part of the crime scene, and so we have to make for sure that they get all the evidence that is needed for the investigation.
As far as the suspect who was deceased,
Yes.
Was this someone who was known, someone you maybe had received calls about before, or do we know anything about his history?
Not at this time. Once again, that'll be a part of the information that the Public Information Office will provide you all in their updated press release. And so we have to give officers, detectives enough time to make contact with that individual's family and make contact with them, because then that's a death notification. So we want to do things, be decent and in order. So.